What's going on, guys? Cody from Motorcycle MD. In this video, you'll be tagging along with me as we tear apart a pretty new CB300r or F model bike that has a locked up transmission. When you shift it into gear, it just shuts off. You guys have seen my videos before on stuck clutches. Well, this is definitely not it. It's only 800 miles and it will not go into gear. Now, there was a recall on this model bike when it came to the main shaft, but we need to figure out exactly what went wrong. Now, Honda says we can do this job easily in 6.4 hours, and as usual, that is complete BS. It took me about 8 or 9 hours. And because most people who view YouTube, Instagram, Facebook have an attention span of about 15 to 20 seconds, here it is in 16 minutes. I will also state that this is by no means a how to tear your motor down to the transmission and put it back together type video. There are hundreds of steps and gaskets and seals that I replace that isn't just worth watching. But I try to make it as enjoyable as possible. When we get to the meat and the heart of the situation, you'll hear me talk about it. And if you are new to the channel, welcome. We do videos on motorcycle repair and maintenance and builds and recalls and all different types of stuff, mainly along the lines of Honda, but I like to mix it up every now and then. If you enjoy that type of content, this channel's for you. Subscribe. In the comment below, let me know what you thought. And if you also enjoy working on your bike, in the description there's a course, a free course, 40 plus videos on how to maintenance your bike properly. Things that you should be. A bird just flew into the garage. Okay, well, your name is Pete. So don't forget to pick up that course before you leave. I know you enjoy it. Thousands of people have already. But enough said, let's go through the painstaking process of tearing a motor down to the transmission, shall we? Enjoy. And go. Tearing motors down, they're pretty much all the same, to be honest. It may seem like it's a huge deal, but I mean, and this is just a single cylinder motor, but once you do a couple of them, you realize that there's just about maybe 10 or 15 things that all have to come apart. Didn't show them a lot here, like the exhaust has to come off, the chain has to come off the front sprocket, you gotta undo the shifter, undo the airbox, undo the throttle body or the intake, gas tank, plastics, that kind of stuff's pretty common. Then it's just out with the motor mounts and that's it. A few connectors maybe, but we gotta start tearing this thing apart. I'm gonna probably sit back and let you guys just enjoy most of it. I quick cut a lot of the stuff. I might pop in and out to tell you or explain what I'm doing. Like right there, I had to put a spacer on that stator shaft so I can spin the motor through. Want to get the motor pretty much at top dead center compression. It's a lot less stress on the cams when you go to remove them, and a lot of the stuff already unloosened or took out of the bike before the motor comes out. It's just so much easier. Like here you see no clutch hub, none of that stuff. Just crack it all loose before you take the motor out. It's just an easier process, honestly. You don't have to hold anything with holders. You just crack it loose with an impact. So here's a cool little gear holder that you can get from anywhere, and lock the motor in so you can just start undoing these bolts. It's not anything special. Your manual for your bike may have a right-handed threaded doohickey, but this does not. Okay, hub comes off. Here is the oil drive gear. I think that's what that was. I probably just called it something completely different. Block the motor up, make sure it's not going to tip over. Here's the oil pump. That will come out. Why keep doing that? We'll just go to the top end now. Take the cam holders off in a series or steps. Okay, you can crack these things if there's any pressure on the cam, so you want to come off in stages. Here's a cam chain holder. Really easy to install. You can buy them anywhere that holds the chain loose for you. And we'll bag those. That comes off pretty easy. This one was a little bit more difficult, but we popped it loose. That's a plastic hammer, by the way, guys. Plastic. It's not metal. Don't scream. Cams come off. I don't care about the cam chain or the timing at this point because we're going down to the nitty gritty. 2 hidden bolts on the inside of the head. Bing, bang, boom. Pop these 4 main stud bolts out. Use a magnet. And get them out. Easy. Hit it. Bang, bang. Head comes off. We have a chain guide right there. There's our head gasket right there. We're not reusing any of that stuff besides the chain guide. We're definitely going to reuse that. And we'll just take the oil pump off now. I took the chain guide off right before that. There's oil pump. Here's a pressure relief valve. All new O-rings. Honda gives us all of that stuff. Chain, good to go. Here's the chain gear. That's splined. Has a master spline on it. snap ring for, I don't know why there's these wave washers, probably to keep, because that little gear I'm taking apart right now is for the counterbalance, and those washers are pretty specific, kind of like a wave washer and a pressure washer, probably to keep that thing from spinning or whatever, but gotta make it sure it's important and put it in the right spot. Cylinder comes off. Boom. Anywhere on the piston? Nope. 800 miles. Clean rag. Let's go ahead and protect that piston. And we'll get this starter out of here by any means necessary. They're always a pain. There you go. Grab onto this drum. I forgot what it's called. Star? Shoot. Oh well. You're saying it right now, I know you are. Okay, we'll crack these cases loose. While we're coming apart, I just want to tap on these shafts. Again, plastic hammer, don't scream. Just trying to keep that stuff down in its place. Everything looks good. The bearings feel good. No mess, no fuss, nothing. There's our transmission, there's our crankshaft, there's our shift drum. And what do we have here? We have a random spring that I did not know what it went to at first, but I realized it just went to the detent for the clutch cable, so don't worry. But those are 2 teeth from a gear. That spring is not important. It is important. Just, it fell when I was taking it apart, okay? Use a magnet here. I try to get any dust particles that are left in that oil from the metal that's broken off from that gear, whatever gear it is. And there it is. That's the counter shaft, and there's the 2 missing teeth on the 3rd gear right there, and there's some wear on the main shaft as well. Let's see what Honda gives us. Man, this is hard. Talking this fast, I didn't realize that this video was this fast after I edited it. There's our brand new main shaft, all new gears. They give us everything, and a gasket set. Everything I would need to do from top to bottom of this motor. Okay, there's our shift shaft, there's our drum, fork number 2, I think I went out of order. Mark them, 1, put a dot on them so you know which way they face up, really easy stuff, 1, 2, 3. Here's our counter shaft, didn't want to come out, here's the main shaft. There's always washers that fall down, so just be mindful of that if you ever were to do something like this. Hopefully you don't. And when you want to take these off, this is the order I like to go in. As I come off, I go straight down with it. Boom. So when I pick it up, it goes right back on the shaft in that orientation. They're always usually split left to right. It's never like down the line. So that's why I'm going the opposite side now. And these ones are circlipped on. And this is when I start talking. So we're going to leave that like that. We're going to go to this one. Oops. Spline bushing. There it is, right there. That circlip is back. It should not be back that far, because that allows this to go in as far as it wants. It's likely, maybe it's still making contact with this over here. They can't go down far enough. And if this one's all the way forward, there's an opportunity for this slider gear to be touching both this gear and that gear at the same time and being kind of engaged with them. See right here, it's all locked, but we have wear all throughout this gear here. But we'll get a brand new shaft on here and a brand new gear right here. So that will be 1st, 2nd, 3rd. I think this is 3rd gear. Took these forks out. I don't see any damage on them. They're not bent, not overheated on the feet. Nothing's wearing on the sides as if a gear came in contact with it. And the drum looks okay. Alright. That's a wrap on that one. Now you may be wondering why this happened. Circlips should definitely not be moving around in transmission shafts, especially on a bike this young, or ever for that matter. And simply put, on this model bike, Honda failed to machine that main shaft correctly. The groove should be a little bit deeper for the circlip to sit up against, and it was not an improperly installed circlip or anything like that. But do not fear, if you have this model bike, you can simply call the Honda dealership or a dealership that does recalls or warranty work and provide them with your VIN number if you are unsure if it has been done, and it can tell you if it is or is not needed. That simple. I know everyone hates factory motorcycle shops, but believe it or not, they can help you out as well. So let's get back to the video. Gotta put this thing back together and go for a test ride. Let's do it. It is time for my least favorite part, which is scraping gaskets and prepping the motor. This is just a block of wood with some, I think it's like 800 grit sandpaper. Yes, it throws metal shavings everywhere and it makes everything disgusting, but everything must be cleaned. I don't show everything being cleaned because that would be ridiculously long. But all the gasket surfaces have to come off. Everything gets washed in a parts washer. Everything gets blown out. After I blow it out, I have to hit it with contact cleaner and then blow that back out again. Then everything gets re-oiled. Okay? It's dumb. I mean, it's not dumb. It's definitely necessary. I wouldn't say it's necessary for every single time you run into a motor teardown situation. But when you deal with metal breaking off of parts and shearing, it doesn't always just come off in one nice clean little part. Everything has to be washed, especially on the transmission. I want to take extra care with that since we are using the counter shaft again. It's not needed to be replaced, but I don't want any particles anywhere. A lot of times that what people don't realize is those shafts are pretty hollow and stuff can hide in there. Even in camshafts in some places, especially on older motors. But everything gets cleaned and brushed and wiped and sprayed and then cleaned again, so we can ensure that this motor will be as good as new. So drum, everything gets blown out, the shaft. It just takes forever, and I swear to you, Honda cannot calculate that into their labor. They just can't. It's ridiculous. 6.4 hours? Are you kidding me? Anyways, I would pay to watch someone do this in 6.4 hours. Okay, I'm sorry. Everything gets oiled. That's just some assembly lube. It's a high zinc concentrate that I use, and it's a blessing and a curse. Using it helps. The biggest time that motors get worn down is on startups, when there's no oil anywhere it needs to be and blah blah blah. So this really helps with that because it's really sticky and it just holds there. But it makes things difficult to like spin, especially when it comes to transmissions. You'll see later on I kind of fight trying to get this thing to ensure that it's shifting all the way through once I install all that stuff. And then that's the culprit. It's just it doesn't like things moving. So this takes no gasket. Most motors don't that are horizontally split or vertically split. I did realize that I had the crankshaft in wrong, so before I put the case on there, let's just go ahead and fix that real quick. Nobody noticed. Okay, cool. And then there we go. There's our alternator side of the engine. Put our bolts in. Again, on the manual, they show you exactly where silicone goes. You don't want to do a lot of it, as usual. Then I clean up all of the excess that kind of squeezes out sometimes. I don't want that to be seen. And we'll start on this side. This is a sprung gear right here. It has springs in it, so I have to kind of put a rod in it so it can hold. These are all master spline. It's very difficult to get these things wrong, but I'm sure you can. Someone will figure out how to do it wrong. But once that's in, you can drop that, unload it, boom, locks in there just like that. That keeps the motor nice and quiet and balanced. Everything gets oil. Most things get moly oil mix, but that assembly lube is great. Here's our cam chain. I guess I'm not going to hang back and just let you guys watch this. It'll just be me talking the entire time because this thing is so fast. Everything gets some oil. There's our new oil pump. Most threads inside of the motor that things are bolting to, just oil the threads. It makes the torque on them more true. Some things get some Loctite. I like to Loctite these paws right here because they twist and move all the time, you know. And same with the bolt that holds whatever that part was called. I still can't remember it. Oh well. Here's our shift shaft. That slides right in there, nice and easy. Sweet. And here's me checking it, and it was just difficult. It does shift all the way through, I can guarantee you that. But it was just, you gotta be spinning that thing like crazy. And with that lube I have in there, it makes it difficult for things to slide around. But, home stretch. Base gasket. Dowels. And cylinder. Make sure you get lots of oil in that thing. Feeder down. Popsicle sticks work great, or if you have a sleeve, a cool handy sleeve to push piston rings in, but those cylinders are usually tapered, it's not that difficult. Get her on snug in there. Boom. Here's our head gasket. And there's our head. Here's me checking to make sure that the timing is good. It looks so colorful with this GoPro camera. It's almost too much, right? Anyways, torquing this thing down, everything gets torqued. Here's Mike Vallet. He is an awesome guy and a huge supporter of the channel. He is like my shop dad. He is an awesome dude. Alright, everything's starting to get some molly. Hub, you're not going to watch me throw the clutch in. They all go in the same way, but here's most of those parts now. A lot of the stuff I finished installing once the motor was back in the frame. Again, it's just easier for everything to be held in place that way. Here's our valve cover. And torqued. In the frame we go. Pretty easy to do with one person. I'm not saying all motors are like that, but having a flat jack is really a humongous help. And let's test ride this thing. This was the second time I fired this bike up, so I'm not going to act like this is the first time, but nothing was wrong. So, here we go. So after a couple of pulls, I did notice that these handlebars are crooked, and then I noticed that there was damage on the left-hand side of the tank. Probably dropped. Really easy way to correct them. Find something stiff that won't move and just bounce the tire into it. Oftentimes that just brings them right back into center. No, I did not hit the fender. No, I did not hit the rim. It's just the tire on something solid. Straightens right back up. And here's one good strong pull. So after this, I usually take them out in the interstate and see if I can't get them to fail catastrophically. It's a way to ensure that the job is done right. But thank you guys so much for just hanging out and tuning in. That will be the end of this one. See you guys next time. Later.